The 100th anniversary of the Russell Cup occurred on April 13, 2019 here in Carpinteria, California. It included legends from the past and up-and-coming legends of the future. How did we get to where we are today? It all started in 1914 when life changed in the beachside village of Carpinteria, California. The town's first electrical grid provided light and power, and the Russell Cup track meet began, hosted by Carpinteria High School. By tradition, Russell Cup princesses presented trophies to the winner, although it was done a little differently in the 1950s. Baseball, softball teams, and volunteers help run the meet. And the Boosters Club barbecues tri-tip for sandwiches. Russell Cup is truly a generational tradition. Here's one example.
My name is Daniel Burquez. I graduated in 2017. Both sets of parents that I have been involved in the Russell Cup about 60 years. Both sides, about 15 family members. And so we have a long family tradition for this event. At Carpi, we're grateful to have an all-weather track to compete on rainy days like this, along with, our laser technology. But, it wasn't always like that.
Film from the 1939 Russell Cup shows spectators jamming the field. Running, throwing, and jumping events were all on dirt surfaces. Vaulters used bamboo poles and fell into piles of sawdust. In 1913, Carpinteria School Principal Francis Fig Hoblin organized local boys into a track team and invited 4 neighboring schools to an end-of-year competition. The following year, Carpinterian Howland Shaw Russell donated a silver cup for the winning team, the Russell Cup. In 1915, Santa Paula High athletes Millard Webster and Lincoln Hall won their events at the Russell Cup and won again at the inaugural California State Championship. 1920 saw young Nick Carter from Lompoc win this first-place medal in the 1-mile run. 8 years later, Nick became the first Santa Barbara County resident to make the Olympic team. And 76 years after his victory, Coach Carter presented the Mild Trophy, now bearing his name, to Isaiah Festa of Morro Bay. 8 years later, Isaiah Festa himself missed the U.S. Olympic team by a mere 1.2 seconds. In 1921, Bud Hauser from Oxnard launched his career as the greatest male athlete in Russell Cup history. In addition to 2 Cup victories, Hauser was a 6-time state champion, 3-time Olympic gold medalist, and world record holder in the discus. A half-century later, another great Oxnard shot putter, Dave Lout of Santa Clara High, won the Russell Cup 3 times and went on to earn a silver medal at the 1984 Olympic Games. At the 1929 Russell Cup, Kate School's Graham Hollister flew across the finish line to win the 220-yard dash in a near world record time. Years later, engineers rebuilding the old Russell Cup track found that the 220 run sloped downhill, so Hollister's remarkable time was disallowed. Despite the economic depression of the 1930s, the Russell Cup prospered under the guidance of 2 administrators. Carpinteria coach Dr. Fred Greeno ran in the 1918 Russell Cup. And in the 1930s, he tutored Carpinteria's first state meet contenders. Starting in 1932, Dale Schuyler won Russell Cup distance races each of his 4 years at Carpinteria High. In 1935, Dale finished a close second at the state meet mile run. Also in 1935, teammate Ralph Wood won the state meet half-mile run. Meanwhile, elementary school principal Frank Wyckoff brought star power to Carpinteria. Mr. Wyckoff had won gold relay medals in 3 Olympic Games, the last in Berlin, running anchor after legendary Jesse Owens' leadoff leg. Frank was Russell Cup starter, ran in exhibition races, and donated a perpetual trophy for the 100-yard dash winner. Here Mr. Wyckoff is seen posing between Bud Hauser and movie star Douglas Fairbanks. At the 1941 Russell Cup, Thelno Knowles of Santa Monica shattered the half-mile record by an astonishing 5 seconds. Soon after, both Thelno's running career and the Russell Cup were put on hold as wartime restrictions forced the cancellation of 5 Russell Cups. In the 1950s, with a rebuilt track and a brand new freeway nearby, the Russell Cup was underway once again. Hart High School high jumper Bob Avon set a Russell Cup record and won the state meet. Another state meet winner, Ray Nickelberry, eclipsed Avon's mark by half an inch, a record that stood for 33 years. And Ventura's Mike Larrabee won 2 Russell Cup sprints and followed with 2 gold medals at the 1964 Olympics. The 1960s opened with a girls' relay race, the first ever Russell Cup women's event. Carpinteria's Sari Small was already a national class runner. But with no official interscholastic competition for women, the 1960 relay was Sari's only opportunity to represent her school. Russell Cup continued to add women's events until a full competitive slate began in 1973, 2 years before the CIF began official women's competition. 40 years after Sari Small's relay debut, the Carpinteria women's 4x400 relay team set a Russell Cup record that has now lasted 19 years. By tradition, Russell Cup queens continue to present awards, but they're no longer limited to the role of admiring guys. Nowadays, they often play dual roles of both queens and competitors.
Last year, I was both a competitor in the Russell Cup and a princess. And in the competition, I had to run 1 mile. It was fun. I felt really honored to be a princess and do the mile.
In the 1980s and 90s, featured local track stars went on to prestigious careers. In 1981, Carpinteria High School's 9th grader Sarah Alaback set a school record for 2 miles that stood for 36 years. Transferring to Kate School, Sarah became the first Kate female CIF track champion and first to run in the state championship meet. Sarah is now a noted architectural historian. The next year, Carpinterian Tom Gruey capped 3 Russell Cup wins and 6 CIF championships with a victory in the California State Meet Mile Run. Tom currently is Deputy Director in the Department of the Navy. Kate's Tracy Lawyer holds the record with 8 Russell Cup varsity championships. She also captured 10 CIF championships, 1 state meet title, and was NCAA heptathlon champ. Tracy is now Dr. Lawyer, an orthopedic surgeon. Carpinteria High's Coley Candell was 1990 CIF Athlete of the Year. In his 4 Russell Cup years, Coley won every race he ran, added 6 CIF championships, and was 1990 State Meet Mile Champion. He's now among the nation's most successful high school coaches in both football and track and field. The Russell Cup welcomed the 21st century with a new all-weather track facility, just in time for the debut of the greatest female Russell Cup athlete, Allison Felix. Allison was Russell Cup Most Outstanding Female in 2000, while only a 9th grader. In years since, she collected 5 state meet victories, 9 Olympic, and 16 world medals. Finally, April 13th, 2019, with picture-perfect weather, the 100th Russell Cup took place with a salute to the past, with historical races run over yards instead of today's standard metric distances. This way, 21st century runners can directly compare their times with runners 100 years ago. So what did your team just win?
We just won the 4x4 frost-off relay.
What's your name?
My name is Oliver Pick.
I'm Sash Fuentes.
I'm Ethan Crouch.
I'm Aiden Smith.
The Russell Cup's pretty cool because it's made a name for itself over 100 years, and to be a part of it is truly amazing.
Dragons!
And where are you from?
Ventura, California.
My name is Fatima Cervantes, and I did frost-off high jump. Frost-off girls.
And did you come in first place?
I did.
Good for you. What's your tip of how to do well?
Just believe in yourself and don't let it get to your head because it's all mostly mental. I go to Carpinteria High School.
Oh, nice. Good. There were also a couple of new traditions added this year. For the first time, there was a junior Russell Cup meet for kids junior high school age and younger.
Ooh, nice.
Also new this year was the Jack Smith Trophy, awarded to the team that best demonstrates sportsmanship, honesty, and integrity in the heat of competition. Nordhoff High School won the first trophy.
You know, I really like the Russell Cup because it gives us an opportunity to go against harder competition that we might not normally have in our league because we are a smaller school and so we don't get to be exposed to other faster teams. So it was a good way to PR and improve our times and our jumps or throws.
All right, Nordhoff. Nice.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
This year's event was blessed to have the attendance of many Russell Cup legends from the past, like these three ladies from the first Russell Cup women's team.
Three of the four women who ran the very first women's relay event at this meet in 1960.
I am very small, and I have the experience was just one that I always dreamed to be able to participate in because my brothers had, and it was a sort of a groundbreaking because there weren't that many activities for girls to participate in such a high level of athletic endeavor. When they saw us run, they understood that women could compete and be attractive in doing it.
If you want to be a track and field athlete and you want to succeed, you can. And I mean that for anybody. It's all about hard work and vision. And the vision meaning it takes time.
Gordon McClenathan, I ran the mile in 1952 and was a winner. And Carpinteria had a lot of fond memories. And my first mile that I ran was at Carpinteria, the old track, the old high school.
Going into my senior year, I was a four-time CIF champion, and I still hadn't won the Russell Cup mile. I finally won it my senior year. I set the record in the mile and set the record in the 2 mile, which still stands today, even though it was run on dirt. I'm surprised it's survived, but it has.
Well, I love that track is a team sport, but you also have that individual part of it. So to me, it's a great sport, and I love the social aspect of it as well. You have boys and girls out here, all different levels. Everybody gets to compete like a family.
Jazera Richardson from Oaks Christian was named the Outstanding Female Athlete of the meet.
Very proud. I'm glad she got it.
She won the 100-yard dash, the 200-meter dash, and ran a leg on the 4x400-meter relay that shattered the old Russell Cup record.
It's a lot of hard work. When you get let down, you got to pick yourself back up because no one else is.
The Russell Cup has come a long way in the last 100 years. And here are some of the legends that made it possible.
Walter Tripucco, Maranatha High School triple jump.
Nice.
Terry Stark, Carpinteria High School, 100, 220, and the discus.
Nice.
Jane B. Anson, Carpinteria High. I was a princess.
All right.
Larry Stark, Carpinteria High, sprinter.
Dolly Sanchez Montalvo, 440 relay and princess.
Mark Sanders, Nora High School, shot put and discus.
Irene Revelis Monroe,
440 relay, and Princess.
Bronwyn Cole, Nordhoff High School, 400 meters, 200 meters, and the relays.
Sorry,
Sasha Blanchard, Lorena High School, sprinter and hurdler.
I'll just come down here and then up there.
Elaine Canchola, Nordhoff High School, middle distance.
Sari Small, relay, anchor.
Let me go back here. Did I miss you?
No, you got me.
Dan Payne, Nordhoff, class of 92, high jump.
Sarah Alback, Carpinteria, and Kate, mile and 2 mile.
Michelin White, or Michelin Schaefer, Carpinteria High School, discus shot put.
Oh, me. Natasha Colbo, St. Joe's High, pole vault.
Teresa Loya, St. Joseph High School, class of 2010, shot put and discus.
Jenna Johnson, St. Joseph High School, shot and disc, class of 2000.
Who's next?
Lori Edelbrock Way, class of 1987, St. Joseph High School, discus and shot put.
Fred Largen representing Simone Sash 400 long jump, triple jump 85 to 87.
Don Young, 1982, St. Joseph High School, 800 meters.
Tom Morrison, Carpinteria, class of 52. Actually, class of 53, but I ran and I got the Wyckoff Trophy in 52.
Wow. Did you meet Wyckoff himself?
Oh, he was my grammar school.
What was he like?
Oh, he's quite a character.
Well, we'll get back to that.
John Barbieri, class of 99, Carpinteria High School, hurdles.
Gordon McClenathan, Santa Barbara High School, mile, 1952.
Kirsten Candell, class of 1995, Carpinteria High School, hurdles.
Tessa Nash, class of 2000, Carpinteria High School, 4x4.
Tony Sermani, class of 80, and I did the 800 and mile.
Tom Gruey, Carpinteria High School, class of 82, mile and 2 mile.
We're with Caroline Petrick, we're her parents. She was in 1600 and 3200 back in 2013 and 15 from Malibu.